So Aditi, I think a good perspective, and if I may say how we are thinking about this, all of the infra needs to be protected at multiple layers, right? I mean, so whether it is, let us say, at the hardware layer, the network layer, the application layer, of course, the identity management and all of that. So from that point of view, what we've done is, I mean, you would have seen our launch of the Connect Safe lab. This lab actually allows for how we actually secure the security posture at all of these levels. Of course, we are covering multiple industries, whether it is from a manufacturing point of view, of course, like you mentioned, but also whether it is, let us say, medical devices or building technologies, connected vehicles, for example. So across all of these industries as well, and similarly across the journey that clients need to take, which means, let's say, for example, whether it is to do with trainings, whether it is to do with architectural reviews, if it is to do with hardware related, or I mean, you know, the OT technology review, all the way up to building a SOC. So our approach to this to help Indian manufacturers is multi-pronged in that sense.
Nitin, India has been a hub of pilots for the last year, but a concerning majority of these AI and IoT projects never reach the production stage. What is the missing puzzle piece that you see for moving Indian PSUs and conglomerates past the proof of concept stage without them hitting the wall of exaggerated costs and integration hell?
Good point again. And I realize you are talking about all the stuff that's happening around AI, Gen AI, agentic. I look at it in three parts, if you see. I mean, you know, one of the things is about downside protection. I mean, you know, even beyond sovereign AI, companies want to ensure that their data, which is essentially IP, does not leave their perimeter. So, which means how can, despite you using LLMs, etc., can you secure your data within your perimeter? The second thing, I mean, you know, generally people ask for is, how do I scale with confidence that I'm not going to end up with a bill shock, which essentially means that can we not necessarily use paid models where every token counts. So the dichotomy that people are trying to navigate is to ensure that we don't have to choose between democratizing this AI, Gen AI, agentic, where everybody uses it, and therefore you are unlocking the whole enterprise, but you are not then having to worry about doing this at the cost of not being able to control the number of tokens, and therefore you could be in for a shock. The third thing that people essentially want again is, you see that people are actually having a current install base. AI cannot suddenly come and say, or AI, Gen AI, agentic cannot come and say that I'll be a parallel system. People have to mimic the way organizations work, and these have to actually interact very well with the existing tech estate. So our own approach to the recently launched GenW.ai addresses all of these. So that, I mean, you know, when organizations actually want to secure their data to be able to ensure that they don't have a bill shock, so they can scale with confidence, that interacts with, I mean, their existing tech estate, we are covering all of these.
Nitin, in an era where fear of job losses loom large, Deloitte has announced its plan to hire 50,000 professionals across India. Do we see this as a muscle play or a brain play? Are you hiring 50,000 freshers to do manual SOC work, or are they here for a specific tier of senior AI architects who can actually outcode the bots?
Good question again. I know in the context of AI, Gen AI, etc., people always think saying that, are we going to disintermediate some layer? Well, that's not how we think. I mean, you know, we always think that there are efficiencies that are going to get unlocked across the layer. We have had the opportunity to train almost 30,000 of our people, I mean, you know, on AI, 20,000 people on the way we are changing our gears to work with a lot more in-house built platforms, technologies, etc. So we are upskilling folks, and the way I think is, in this era of new tech coming into play, you will have people who will be involved in multiple things. One is, of course, people have to keep the lights on while the change happens. Second is, we'll have people who will be helping our clients negotiate the journey of AI, Gen AI, etc. Third is, of course, problems that could have previously not been solved because, people were otherwise stuck in the mundane, or the processing power wasn't there, or the kind of intelligence wasn't available at a fingertip or at a price point. With all of this coming together, there are new problems that become available to be solved. The potential to be solved. So I do believe that I don't think job losses really is the way. It is about upskilling and making sure that, we can solve higher order of value problems, with the emerging tech. So that's how I see it.
And what is the timeline for this hiring plan, and what kind of roles and skill sets are you looking towards?
Of course, the skills will be quite, it is not one skill or another, but broadly, if I were to say, there are advisory skills, there are technology implementation skills, there are business process management skills which consume these technologies and change the way people work, so beyond grunt work. So we do expect to hire similar profile that we have hired in the past across levels, but of course we will upskill folks so that people can work in the new ways of working, which today may not necessarily be right out of the box from a college, but that mantle we are owning.
Nitin, for India as a market for Deloitte, does the country rank in your priority markets, and what kind of investments and expansion plans can we expect from Deloitte in India?
Well, that's a question for my CEO, but I would say at a very broad level, we are pursuing multiple pillars. I think India is home to almost a third of Deloitte's professionals globally. So in that sense, priority wise, I presume very high up in the order. And if you were to say what kind of investments, etc., I can boldly say we are top tier in that sense. I think we've been consistently investing 9% on capability building, capacity building, on innovation, etc. So in that sense, 9% of top line consistently over the years is what brings us to the tip of spear, being able to, work on. And this is not money spent for the sake of spending money, right? You see, we have a Center of Innovation and Technology in Bangalore, and now a new Connect Safe lab that helps people, secure their infrastructure. We are coming up with a quantum COE very soon. And similarly, how the future of government should, look like. So there is a lab coming up for that. So the entire intent is, a little bit of an higher order of purpose kind of an intent, which means how do we create jobs in India? If AI were to disrupt, let us say, services jobs, how do we actually become more efficient as a country on manufacturing? So that is of interest to us. So like that, there are several topics of interest for us, which of course, is commercially viable, but is also of national import. So if I may say, so these are all the areas which actually drive our growth and therefore our investment, and that connects then back to the kind of people that we want to hire, etc. So in that sense, I would say that's the 360 of it.
Nitin, despite the focus and push on innovation by the government of India, the country still stuck at 0.64% of GDP when it comes to spending on R&D. Is our digital sovereignty just a buzzword if we are still relying on global LLMs? Can India truly be a Vishwaguru, as we say it, in tech if the private sector continues to underinvest in core research?
I think many questions bundled into one. So let me unravel the way I see it, 0.65% is probably not because people don't want to spend. I think we need to work on, I mean, how do we up our total factor productivity? I mean, so that's how I look at it. So which means, let's say, for example, one of the problems we would love to solve is how do you, let us say, for example, squeeze value out of the logistics costs that the country spends on, right? I mean, and therefore, I mean, the manufacturers, etc., spend on. Because every 1% reduction there, probably, I mean, a significant portion of that can add to the R&D spend, right? I mean, why we are committed to this purpose? Because, I mean, it comes from a deep sense of the fact that India should capture value. And you rightly pointed out saying that, I mean, R&D and of course brands, these are the ones that actually capture value. So in that sense, this is an agenda that we would like to commit to. How do we commit to that? I mean, can you use, let us say, quantum or quantum inspired algorithms to, I mean, better do scheduling or better do your logistics, etc. So from that point of view, I think the money saved there will create the space for people to spend on R&D, etc. So I don't think it's for want of intent. It is that as the physical infrastructure is getting built by the government, how do we help, I mean, leverage that and unlock efficiencies that otherwise couldn't have been accessed.
Nitin, extending a little bit more on digital sovereignty, how is Deloitte navigating the dual cloud reality, that is maintaining global efficiency in terms with the global major players while satisfying the Indian government's need to have localized sovereign data clouds?
Well, I mean, again, I know I missed answering a part of your previous question, and I think it dovetails into this one as well. If you see, for example, GenW.ai works with Servam as well. So we tested the integration, whether it works. So which means in that sense, it's a very Indian model. We love it. Apart from that, do we have the ability for our platforms, let's say, for example, things that Deloitte builds, can it reside in country? Answer is yes. I think we have a lot of alliance partners who are putting up infra in country. I mean, so it lends itself to that. But also, if let's say, for example, our clients are pursuing on-prem, I mean, their own data centers, etc. So some of the platforms we're building actually lend themselves to being hosted on-prem as well. So it is not just about on cloud and therefore within country, but it could even be within the perimeter of an organization, because we would love to cater to, say, PSUs or defense or somebody who says, I want it in my air-gapped network. It has to lend itself to that as well. So it's a multi-pronged strategy to make sure that horses for courses, everybody can get these platforms exactly in the configuration and in the hosting environment that they would like.
Nitin, before we wrap up, if you had to choose between India becoming the AI factory of the world or the cyber shield of the world, which one provides a more long-term economic sovereignty perspective, and where is Deloitte placing its biggest bet and how?
It's like you are asking me to choose between the accelerator and the brake, right? I mean, I would say let's be greedy and want them both. And I would always say, I mean, a great car with a great engine, with all the security features, with, I mean, keeping you safe. I think we want it all. I think we have the same kind of aspiration that young India has, and the way the government is preparing for it. I mean, so in that sense, yeah, I mean, ye dil mange more, if I may say.